Hey, what up, guys? It's Julia Van Speaker, and who we got on today's show?
What's going on, y'all? It's Lack of Flaws.
Lack of Flaws. Okay, first of all, before we even give an intro about who you are, where you come from, let's talk about the name first. Lack of Flaws, because I was like, that's a very bold name, first of all. At first I thought it was just your Instagram, your tag, but I'm like, no, when you do the research, it all comes up. You have the, I don't know what you call it on Google. It was the artist bar.
Yeah,
everything comes. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, he's very bold for that. So let's talk about the name. How did you come up with Lack of Flaws, and why is it so bold?
The truth is, the name has taken a lot of meanings over the years. Like, the name has taken a lot of different meanings to me. My first rap name was Flaws. And when I went to trademark it, there were some issues. So we started to play with different variations of Flawless, and Lack of Flaws is very, very distinct. There's going to be no trademark issues. There were no issues there. But aside from that, just what it meant to me over the years, just meant like I got to get up every day and be the best version of myself. Like, I do understand that I'm not perfect, and a lot of people misinterpret that as me being arrogant or something along those lines. And it's really like, no, I got a name I got to live up to every day. Every day I got to get up and try to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. I fall short all the time, but it's about getting up and having a name that I got to live up to. I don't get to rest on my laurels. I got to push forward every time. Every day.
I like that. It's a nice little reminder, because at least it clears up the whole misconception of you being, like, I guess, arrogant. Because I was like, well, damn. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought that too. I was like, I need to know what the boldness is behind it, but it's actually a lot more meaningful than we all thought. So there you go.
It was the notorious B.I.G. Like, I come from like big hip hop names, like really, really big. Naughty by Nature, like these are big names, you know what I'm saying? So,
nah, definitely, that's a fact, because we'll get into your music and that correlation in a little bit.
Tribe Called Quest. Yep. These are some prolific names in hip hop.
Absolutely. So, when did you get your actual start in the music industry?
I started writing really young. I started writing when I was probably like 12, 13 years old. It was really just an outlet for the stuff that was going on around us in the neighborhood and the stuff that we saw. And my older cousin had got a beat machine.
Oh, wow.
He's 10 years old.
That's a real starter pack.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, 9, 10, 11 years old at the time, and he had just moved in. And he had just got this big ass, like, gray, like one of them big
like
ass
MPC or something.
I mean, it was like I want to say it was like a rolling DR8.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I know the producers out there probably gonna be like, that's not what it's called. No, it's not like that.
No, we know what you're talking about.
Something along those lines.
Right.
And he would just be down there pounding away in his headphones. He would plug up to the speaker. Sometimes I fell in love with the process of making records and sounds coming together.
Right.
And that was really where, between him and my best friend, those two things really kind of started those musical juices flowing.
Damn, that's what's up, though. So, like, with your sound, because I was going over a little bit of your catalog, and like I said earlier before we jumped on, I had no idea you were releasing music, because my only thinking was you were into the more business side of things. So the stuff that you dropped, the last project that you dropped last year, BSides, it gave me a serious 90s feel. So creating that record, what was that process like for you, and why go super vintage with it rather than, hitting the drills and, the trap sounds and things like that?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. Funny thing is, I re-released B-Side in 2020.
Wow.
It originally came out in 2015. I originally put it out. My mom passed away in 2014. Wow. And she passed away in the middle of me making the album. And the same best friend that got me started rapping, he got shot 5 times. He's finishing up a 10-year sentence right now behind some stuff that we were, dealing with. And to be able to make that album in the midst of all of that, it was very therapeutic. And at the time, we're talking 2015. So, Metro Boomin was going crazy. Future was going crazy.
Right.
It was a very, Atlanta still got the sound in a lot of ways, but
definitely.
Music was in a very trap space. And,
exactly.
I wanted to make something that I felt like I could hit play on forever. You know what I mean? When I look at the hip hop albums that I play forever, or the ones that I feel like are classic albums that, all of the greatest rappers to me have classic first albums. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was really important for me to make something that I felt was timeless. And I felt like, being able to dive into something honest and truthful would give me the ability to be able to hit play 10 years later, or hit play 5 years later like I did. I did the re-release on my birthday last year. So I put it out and was like, yo, I still love these songs. Like, it takes me back to a space when I hear them. So it was difficult. It was difficult to be willing to step out there on that limb by yourself. Like, there was a lot of DJs that I gave. Giant was the single,
right?
Off BSides. So I gave a lot of DJs Giant. I'm not gonna put nobody on the track, so to speak. But I had a DJ tell me at the time, like, yo, this record is a classic, but I can't play it.
Wow.
It doesn't fit in what I have to play right now based on what my bosses is breathing down my neck and all of this other stuff. So it became a very niche driven record for the time. And I'm thankful to everybody who's heard it and everyone who continues to hear it. I still don't feel like enough people have heard it. So it's a living, breathing thing.
Right.
So I believe that B-side will continue to get better with age.
Right. That's what I was actually going to say too. Cause as you were talking, I was thinking like, if there's any like music majors or sound engineer majors, anybody like that, that's a type of record you can take into a class and dissect it. Because like I went a couple of years ago, I went to school for sound, and those are records that we learn how to, mix to and, how to edit to. So those are really, really important things. So I'm thinking this is definitely beyond just listening to. This is something that you could take into a classroom and teach. So these sorts of projects are very important for sure. All right, so let's get into your latest single, which was crazy that you dropped on the first day of the new year. Ain't Got Time, which is very perfect timing. When you think about 2020, you put it definitely put things into retrospect, to be honest with you, because at this point, I don't think any of us got time anymore to play around. So let's talk about that record.
Ain't Got the Time it's exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly that. It's that moment where you're like, I have these goals, I have these dreams, I have these ambitions that I want to accomplish. Right. And I don't have the time for distractions or the things that can deter me from what it is that I'm trying to get done. Right. And it's just very easy to get sidetracked out here. It's very easy to lose focus. And Ain't Got the Time was just that declaration. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I know everybody's doing the whole New Year's resolution thing that everybody usually does. And it's like, instead of asking people what are your New Year's resolutions, it's like 2021, what you ain't got the time for? Like what you don't have time for this year? What are you doing different? Instead of it being people just, throwing stuff out there that they hope is true.
It's definitely, that track reminds me of, I'm butchering this. You had a track back in 2014 that I was listening to right before we got on. It's a little bit more of a modern version in terms of sound. Like it skips that whole 90s sound and it fits a lot more into today's sound. So I'm like butchering what I want to say exactly.
You said I put out a record in 2014?
Yeah, I forgot. And I actually really like that track. I just cannot get the title together right now. Oh, damn. And it was very catchy too. And I was singing along with
last night. Was last night.
There we go. Last night. I was like, I know it started with an L. I was like, I don't want to mess this up.
Last night.
But it's like a more modern, it's a catchy. Ain't Got the Time is very catchy and it fits for right now. So it's definitely a lot different from what you've done previously. So who are you looking forward to working with? I know that you are, like you said, you're a songwriter yourself and also a producer. So who are you looking forward to working with going forward in 2021?
Honestly, I'm open right now. Like because I have a project coming out extremely soon. I won't.
Okay.
Sooner than later. Which I know sounds crazy for me, but I got an album coming out sooner or later. It's gonna be a heavy release year for me. I can say that much. Heavy release year for me. But
so then we're gonna be watching.
I mean, I'm just saying it's a heavy release year for sure. And I forgot the question.
Who are you looking forward to?
I was thinking about the records. Okay, yeah. I'm really more excited right now about linking up with great creative minds on the visual side.
Okay.
I'm really more interested right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm always open to amazing musicians and producers and songwriters and artists. I'm always open. But right this second, I really want to make sure that we take these records and that we create moments and very interesting and visuals that expound upon what we were trying to get across, to make sure that our message is delivered and make sure that we're communicating properly and clearly what was intended. You know, at the end of the day, if you go in the studio and you make a song or whatever, you're trying to get some emotion across. You're trying to get something across. So I want to make sure that we're producing visuals that drive home those points and bring these songs to life and beyond.
Absolutely. So another thing that I really kind of want to focus on too, because you're on both sides of the fence, and lately for Culture Pop Radio, we have been really trying to drop gems for a lot of different artists that come out there. So let's talk a little bit more about the management side. So you were talking about releasing tracks to DJs and not feeling the DJs feeling like it's not something that they could play. What would you say to an artist in that sort of instance that's trying to get their music out there, something that they're passionate about and that they love, and a DJ or a station or a playlist is refusing that sort of passion, I guess?
Today it's a different world than it was when that happened. Like I said, B-Side originally came out in 2015. So I started sending Giant out in late 2014. So you didn't have playlisting the way you have it today. You really did need radio in certain ways. You did need the DJs either playing it in their clubs or, different platforms that they may have. So today I would tell the artist there's a home for everything. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of music you make today, there's a home for it. It's more about you doing your homework and your research to be able to suss out what's the right playlist or the right radio station. There's so many different ways to get your music to people.
Right.
It may not be the most glamorous way to go about it, but if you just really find if you focus on your target market and you understand who's listening to you, you understand who you make music for, then you focus on getting music to those places and getting it in front of those people, and it'll naturally go from there. But I mean, like I said, when I look back at the reference that you just used for Giant, I did get told that, but then I took it to satellite radio. And it got a lot more love at satellite radio than it did at terrestrial radio, who were playing more top 40 trap records. This got to live at more, Hip Hop Nation and stuff like that. Oh,
right. I actually listened to that daily too.
Yeah. Shade 405, these kind of places where a more hip hop sound fit.
Right.
So it was my job and my team's job. I was really, fortunate to work with great people, and I still do, that are able to identify these smaller niche markets so that we can still, grow our organic fan bases and people who actually resonate with the sound.
Absolutely. And you said a very perfect word just now that I kind of want to focus on, the organic, everything being organic. What can you say to somebody that is, I guess out there, it's not as organic as it should be? Because we tell people over and over about the organic versus the paid sort of, there's no sustenance there. You know what I mean? What would you say, without saying too much, what would you say to somebody, you know what I'm getting at? What would you say to somebody that is trying to use that in the long run? Like why that wouldn't work, or why that would work, or, the do's and don'ts of doing stuff like that, and why it's important to have an organic fan base?
Well, that's like 17-part question. We got to unpack that a lot. Okay, that's a lot to unpack at once. Hold on.
Okay, coming with the questions.
Okay. Number one, I think the biggest misconception in this whole situation starts off with people believing that it doesn't cost anything to grow an organic fan base. I think that's the first problem, is when people hear, did you pay for it or did you not? Did they immediately go to, oh, that's pay to play, it's not good? And it's like, no, that's not the way it works. Like, you do have to promote, you do have to advertise, you do have to do these things. So if a playlister does, charge you or whatever to get into the playlist. It's more about you being able to do your homework to figure out if the playlist is real or running bots or something along those lines. But at the end of the day, you're just trying to get yourself in front of people so that they can make a decision on if they like your music or not. So the problem with it starts there on saying, okay, cool. Are we paying for something? Are we not paying for something?
Right.
If you are paying for something, which is you should be paying for advertising. You should be paying for promo. You should be paying for these different outlets to get in front of new people so that they can potentially fall in love, become a fan, stream your record, add it to their playlist, buy merch, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's where the disconnect happens. People think that everything is just supposed to be free. Now, I do understand this came from a time where if a DJ liked your song, he would play it in the club for free. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or there are platforms that if they like your stuff, they post it for free. It's just difficult right now because everybody's bombarding everybody with everything, and there's so many artists in the world. So at a certain point, some people are creating these paywall situations or these pay-to-play situations just to weed out, who's not serious in some instances.
Right.
And then you do also have your people who are taking advantage of artists on the other side, and charging people. And it's really a tough spot for a lot of independent artists to live in because you don't know who to trust, and you don't have the money to be wrong, which is what I tell a lot of people more often than not. They don't have the money; they can't put 10,000 into a single and be wrong. Like a label, Interscope may put 150 into a record and say, and we changed our mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Like this person got one shot with this 10 grand to, do whatever they're going to do, or they may be, they may put their dream away, we'll say. You know what I'm saying? Because they only got one shot with that 10 grand. This is the person that may work a regular 9-to-5 job or whatever the case may be. Everybody's not a swiper, Jay.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So for my artists out there who aren't swipers or drug dealers, I mean, I understand that when you're trying to figure some things out, you have to, you got to plan differently, and it's hard to trust people.
Right.
So I think it's really about, like I said, it's about doing your homework as much as possible. And you're going to have to take shots, and there are going to be things that don't work.
Right.
Your job is to manage your risk. Like, I would never tell you to go call somebody and be like, yeah, I got $5,000 for this promo. Like, why don't you start off with the smallest package they have and see how it goes or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, take your time, see if they have references, see if their website is up to date. It's a lot of small stuff that will make you kind of get a feeling. And trust your instincts. If you get a feeling that it's fake, trust that as well. Like, if they're not answering your questions the way you want them to be answered, trust those instincts. And it's a lot of shady. This is still one of the shadiest businesses on earth.
It's a fact. Because it's one of those I always say, like, the entertainment industry is like those, it's like you get cash quick almost. So, like, I could definitely understand how it's shady. So thank you for that portion of, answering the questions on the management side.
I can do whatever you need me to do. I'm here.
This is my favorite part of the show, though. It's called 5 Fast Facts. You got to be fast. We've been having people stopping and thinking and like, man, we need these to be quick. 5 fast facts about yourself you feel comfortable with sharing.
Okay.
So it's your time to go.
I got to just...
It's rapid fire.
That's why people have...
We don't got the bell yet. But we're going to incorporate it.
That's exactly why people need to figure out, like, you can't just tell people that, hey, I need 5 facts from you. Spit them out.
It's got to be quick, man. It's got to be quick. That's why we hit you so fast.
Well, you should say something. You should ask me 5 questions or something. Anyway, 5 fast things that people should know about me. I'm from Detroit. I'm a Gemini.
Ooh, okay.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Boom.
I love great food.
Okay.
And I love beautiful women.
Hey, look, that was fast. You had it good. You had it amazing, man. That was a good 5 fast facts. That was probably one of the fastest, actually. I think I applied a good amount of pressure.
I don't know if those were the 5 people wanted to know. I wear a size 11.
Good. Okay, we got 6.
Somebody wanted to send me some shoes or something. I wear an 11. I got all kinds of facts.
He gonna keep going.
I mean, I can do that all day. Like, I can.
You're probably one of the few artists that are just always prepared. I do that to keep artists on their toes because you got to always be ready. What do they say? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Don't have to get ready. I'm always
exactly.
ready.
Well, Floor, thank you so much for dropping by, spending some time with us today on Culture Pop Radio. I'm Julie Vamps.
I'm Lack of Flaws. Y'all are great.
Thank you.